TenZ is back in pro, but how did it go? We're going to be reviewing his gameplay today to be able to help you guys improving your game as well.
I'm walking. Ready? ISO dead. Careful close, careful close. Close good, close good. I'm jump starting it. I don't see. Yep. You want to go out?
So if you see right here, the Cypher is actually trying to insert himself in a position like this. Then what this does is it allows for early comms for rotations and whatnot over here. You also notice that the dart enables him with that, so you'll be able to tell if there's someone creeping up, all that good stuff, unless they line of sight it, of course. And also the dart sometimes will be enough for even lower level teams, really, to stay on A site, which allows for the gap to be bigger in C. So why did they get the kill on ISO here? Well, ISO reacts to that dart, reacts to the information that's going on towards A. So they're thinking there's probably something going on towards A, so we can probably move up and catch someone off guard, or take deep space on C to condense them into the options of either going B or A. So it's a standard kind of play for this one. So this was a bait and switch where they're trying to end towards C and then give their presence and announcement over towards A.
Careful close, careful close. Close good, close good. I'm jump starting it. I don't see. Yep. You want to go out?
You're looking at least two on the backside of C right now.
Oh shit. Wait, you want to leave me here? I'll take a one off.
Chance or a push out on mid here as well.
It's Cypher here. Cypher and Omen. Nice go.
There's that mid push.
Yep.
And the push out through A. So 1 to 2 on C now. The other one's probably moved over to garage, and you have at least one more push out on here.
Doesn't see me. You want to just re-hit this?
Now, why the re-hitting works is because at this point in time, as I was saying, they've probably spread out to here, or they probably move over to B. There's probably maximum one more on C right now, because I don't think they would left fully. In about 10 seconds, they'd probably leave, because the motion was going towards A, and then Sova would be calling out that they might be going back towards A. So these are all things that they're looking at. And I've always said that the path of victory is through the eyes of the opponent. If you were them, what would you say in these moments? So the re-hit makes sense, especially after they've restabilized, because now they've spread out. So at maximum, you're looking at probably a 3v1 on this site, unless they've made a read that they're going to be going back here.
There's a cam here. Ready? I'm gonna break cam. Bro cam. I'm stunning.
The call for the break cam is important here because we want to get everyone as close as possible to exploding after we've been revealed, so we can catch that timing to be able to get the bomb down or to force the fight on the back person without extra support.
Yeah, I'm looking at flank. Okay. Yeah, I'm being late flank.
The problem with the late flank is the plant is not for him, so he can't really, you can't commit to this. This is all that TenZ really could do. He was hoping for a quick pick, and then he was going to fall off behind into the smoke again, and then maybe even re-challenge it afterwards. But he has to go for something here, something aggressive. And naturally, at this level, they're not going to peek one at a time, but he's hoping for a mistake, and that's literally all you can do in 1v3. So again, we talked about this before. If you're down numbers, don't go in expecting to win these things, right? At these high levels, people are going to peek properly. They're going to 1, 2, 3 swing. So the chance of you winning is very, very low. That's why I always say, if you're down in these number situations, look for the fight, be aggressive, and try to pick the fight on your own terms. Because if you wait for them, they'll do this 3, 2, 1 swing, and there's nothing you can do. Even if they did get a collat here, I'm sure there's another person on the right-hand side who's about to swing him.
3, 2, 1. Peeking. I don't see
that close swing that I'm talking about? 3, 2, 1.
Could he be baiting?
So what he's worried about is someone being in the backside shooting shots, but trying to pull in the push from here, kind of faking like they're weak for a shotgun or someone to be able to be like baited for. That's what they're asking for. Are they baiting here? And if you look at the money, which he's flicking every once in a while, you could see that that is a high risk. Right, so let's say, for example, Nasi here is using a gun. Someone here could be using a shotgun and setting up for that kind of a bait and switch play. That's why it's important for even you guys who are playing in ranked to just look at the money and see what is possible. They might not have that level of advancement where they're like bait and switching, but they're definitely going to buy weapons like this. So you want to think about, where do I want to path to avoid potential traps like this against just regular shotguns or any close range weapon. It has to be re-cleared here because there's a possibility whenever they're down numbers, they're going to try to take space in certain areas to generate close range fights. So this whole place needs to be re-cleared properly, including the left corner, which is why they're tapping there, care is basically what they're saying in their comms right now. There's that close range fight that the Omen generates there.
You want to come towards me with me?
It is very possible sometimes where you saw that smoke being thrown on the entrance of Garage. It's very possible that they might do a recontest. They might flash through with the Yoru and try to challenge more. If they know that there's like one more isolated player here, they could go for it, and that could flip the round very quickly. Just with one Vandal being dropped into the hands of the defenders.
Close left, close left.
There's that close left angle. Again, this is really good for Wu here. Super, super good. Because immediately that trade 1-for-1 is making it a 4v2. Another gun's down. Financials are really, really good for Wu right now against the attack team. So everything's kind of going in the right direction. It's going to require Cube to actually pick things up and pop off to be able to get this round back into the favor. So this is huge for the defending team. The one saving grace right now is that we do have control over the A site. And Omen's going to play in an angle that's going to force an opening fight. Doesn't end up working out for the plant, unfortunately. The spam is there. So that's all they really could do in that situation. And then obviously with Knights pushing up, he's trying to generate anything. He's in the 2v4 situation. Again, back to the point I was making the round prior, it's all about trying to generate something when you're down numbers to be able to pick and choose when the fights are coming for you.
Got it. If they refight here with the flashing the stun, okay?
What they're talking about, there's 3 fights that are major, and the first one is all about map control. So beginning fights equals map control, middle fights equals recontesting. So what they're concerned about is the Yoru, who is active on this bomb site, could go for a refight on this area and try to challenge for neutral space. So the recontest could include the ISO fighting forward, the Yoru fighting forward with a flash, maybe a dart to be able to kind of like pull attention away from the main entrance and challenge for this space. I think there's less of a chance of it happening here though, because we're on a bonus / eco round right now, that the other team is probably reading themselves and saying, yeah, is there really no need for us to worry about that? We can probably beat them on the end fight, which would be the site take and the post plant. Unlikely you're going to see it, but there was a risk for it and they were ready for that trap. TenZ is suggesting different plays right now for things that they can do to execute onto the bomb site if they want to stick with it.
He's done. Nice.
And great trades right here. So this is going to be 2 guns down right here. So now it's all... Oh, never mind. I was going to say this is going to be now a flipped kind of round here. And the challenge on Flare there, it doesn't end up paying off. But that could have been... There was an opening window for a win condition there if both those guns got down in the favor of TenZ's team here. Beautiful shots.
I'm holding the...
This is a round where they would probably push. Yeah, so he's ready for this. So this is a round where they might try to change up the patterning a little bit, and the reason why is that money's good for the opposing team and also money's bad for us. So this might be a time where they're like, you know, let's throw up a little bit of a switch up and kind of be a little bit more aggressive on the early parts. This is definitely like one of those moments where they're ready for that swing out from double doors. You can kind of feel it. And again, he's ready for this kind of push up too. So what they're going to do is they're going to spend the next 20 to 30 seconds kind of feeling out to see if they're going to do anything. They're not going to really commit too deep into the neutral space, but about 1 minute and 20 for sure they're going to start moving up after they know that they've stabilized and kind of played a little bit more reserved. Here's where they're starting to move into the neutral space here. So 15 to 20 seconds is usually when they start going into this more aggressive neutral space position right here. Smoke over on the A long doesn't end up working out as that goes down, and Yoru's in a position where they can grab an op. So op is active on the field. The Yoru op is quite powerful in this map because you can just constantly just change your angles up, and it's really hard to predict where they're going to go. This is a round where they could do a hard execution with A and also have Omen TP into heaven, for example. So able to create that back pressure if he wants to.
I can just slide peek this. I can slide peek this. Ready?
They're worried about an op, so he's going to try to like bait for the op pick. Doesn't end up popping up. There he is there. And the trade. And here's a TP up into heaven. So it's going to be on Omen. Like, this is his carry potential. Omen's carry potential. When you have a really good Omen.
Yep. No shield.
It's fantastic. Ooh, what a shot. It's fantastic because you just have so much opportunity to just carry, get into positions that the enemy never expects you to be in. All these different things. This is a really good, what they're trying to do here is a little bit of a bait and switch, because what ends up happening most often is you'll have one person playing Hell and then one person playing into Graffiti, and then they do this crossfire right here, which is really hard to deal with because obviously once you come out you have to focus on one side. So what ends up happening here is they're going to have one in the corner, which a lot of times people will kind of overlook because they figure how many times they're going to have 2 in that corner. So it can end up working out for them that this guy ends up baiting for this person if they end up going out to peek. Now, smartly on the defender team, I've talked about this before in many shorts and many long forms, when you're trying to retake A, that smoke on this area is totally fine in a 1v2 situation, because if they do play in there, it is what it is, but you need to find some way to get out and to be able to clear all these angles. So this gives you at least a pathing to be able to have some semblance of hope when trying to come through here. Now there's going to be another bait and switch off of the generator here, or sorry, off the default box. Oh, and the perfect peek using his smoke to be able to isolate the 1v1. Flare is insane, actually. Predicting all this. Oh my god, the fact that he had a chance to win that is crazy.
Can we get in the smoke together?
So this is where they're going to be popping. So they've got their stage set up. They're going to pop right here. They might pull hands here. He doesn't pull hands.
Oh, one backside, one backside.
The neon wall is very powerful in this map. Very, very powerful. And when it's used properly, like, you can really just section off the bomb site really well to be able to isolate for single fights. That's one thing that you're going to notice in these high levels, is that when they go in, they do things like this to be able to eliminate potential swing angles, right? So, you know, TenZ is one of the best at this. Throws a stun off this area so you make sure that this whole space cannot be swung off of. And obviously this is going to force either, you know, you think of the stun, it's kind of like a molly. It's either going to force them forward, or it's going to force them back, or they're going to be stuck on that spot, and then TenZ has a free one, right? So it goes in, takes the space, the wall's up here to cover any other additional angles that could be fighting him, protects himself from this spot, and that isolates anyone in hell for him to take a clean 1v1, which is really good. Very, very powerful on his part. Oh, and then obviously the re-swing out on this one, and then the trade right away. So it's like 1 for 1 for 1 for 1. When you're at this level, it's just like trade for trade for trade for trade. And being able to have that kind of an execution, you know, with your neon, just allows that whole kind of domino effect to go. And now we're still in a winnable position right here, even though the bomb is down. It's still possible for T-Dog to be able to make something happen off of an execution like this.
And see.
The push it on C is possible again. Yeah. This ISO might not be reserved. We'll find out in a second here. Okay, that ISO's backed off.
ISO's one already.
We gotta be really careful of not isolating the fight here. Beautiful. The thing that is slept on, and maybe TenZ didn't even realize this, but the timing of the peaks is so important. He could have taken the fight earlier, and I feel like a lot of people in lower ranks would go ahead and just like say, okay, I'm gonna fight this guy right here, right? But the fraction of a second of a time it took for Omen to get in position, just like literally 1 second later, is a difference maker between making 2 1v1s versus a 1v2 against the ISO. Him not peeking here, falling on the cover, is a difference maker between, again, the 2v1 on the ISO versus the 1v1 on the ISO, which could have been detrimental right away. You have to be really careful to not isolate those two fights. And TenZ is a master of this. Like, high-level players are masters of this
I
kind
can
of thing.
one after.
This is where them playing through short is very likely. Could see some shotguns, could see some nasty fights towards short. There they are.
I'm half HP.
So this A control is very important for the defenders, because now they've limited some options of what TenZ's team can do here.
Yep, I'm gonna stun, okay?
The garage recontest could be a possibility here.
Careful trips, careful trips, careful trips.
And this is going to be a really interesting post plan here, because here's the thing. They've actually ran through a midpoint. So there's a lot of possibilities of things that can happen. When you're running through the midpoint, and I've used this example before, you create the 300 protocol. 300 protocol is threat coming from this way, threat coming from this way. On top of that, we have to consider the alts as well. One frag can create an opportunity where everyone's revealed on site, and also Yoru can easily clear out where things are going to be in terms of threats. So a lot of this round is going to dictate on who gets the entry, but also how the breach uses his ult to be able to disturb how they try to stage in with the Yoru ult. So it's going to be something that they're probably talking about, like, I'm going to use this when they do this. This round is definitely wide open especially considering that this whole space here could be a threat. That Cypher could have pushed down on a round where their money is a little bit lower. So this is actually quite scary for the attacking team here. And then this cage further iterates that this is a possibility that they've pushed down long as well. We can't deny that.
Trips, careful trips, careful trips.
It's a scary shit.
Yeah,
and there is one pushed out from long right here, and it's the Yoru, and the Yoru can leave at any point in time, so this might be a cancel at this point.
Oh.
Now, something you might be looking at 4-8 and 4-10s and be like, wow, this guy's washed. No, it doesn't work like that. First of all, he's a duelist. Second of all, it's a new team that he's only practiced with 3 times. When you have new teams, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. Your stats are going to be all over the place, and the consistency is not going to be there.
We're vuln right now, vuln right now.